themselves.
Team Dignitas looks really scary coming into this season. I think they'll take the #1 slot pretty convincingly. I mean, stuff can happen and super teams tend to fail, but they look the most scary. I think most super teams fail because they all have big egos and they expect to win instantly. Like, they don't think they will have to put the work in to actually win. But with this, like with the new Dignitas roster, I think it's a different case, and that's why I believe they will actually succeed.
So I think that based on the roster changes that happened, Dignitas was the team that came out ahead. They got the strongest players, and based on how they have been performing, the synergy seems way above what, for example, Fnatic was showing, as they just will need more time than what Dignitas needs.
The players I look up most to is Snitch, because of his hard work. He's dedicated, he knows what he wants to achieve, and he works really hard for it. In an in-game smart kind of way, I really look up to Wooby. He's a really smart guy with a lot of cool ideas. So it's mostly those two, and Saelia probably as the third. Just because, like, I wanted to bring him into the competitive scene for a long time, like even before he became a professional. Just because of the dedication, and he's a really talented player. So yeah, those three.
I think we'll have two biggest rivals in the EU League. I think it'll be Fnatic and Method. I think both teams have very strong rosters, and with hard work, they both have the potential to, like us, come together and be really strong.
I feel like Method can be like our rival. I'm not sure. Like, again, I always thought that Fnatic will be our biggest rival, but I don't feel like this year they will do particularly good.
And I'm really interested to see how the new Method roster will do, because I think Shrimpy is still a very, very strong player. Athero is a very strong player, and I'm excited to see how Arcana will perform in a more serious region than Australia.
Maybe some teams like in the shadow will actually grow up like really a lot and improve, and they can potentially maybe beat us and be like the new king in EU, like in the top 2 or top 3. And I think this is a bit scary, and I feel like this is a thing that can hurt a lot. So yeah, like we need to keep attention and pay attention about all the upcoming teams.
Shrimpy's time to shine.
Snitch talked about it a little bit, but one of the reasons why I'm very excited about this series is we get to see Wubby, a true and tried experienced player that has dominated in his lane against Arcana, who's came over from Australia. And Arcana in his matchups has been showing up well. How will he pair against someone like the likes of Wubby?
It's going to be a tight fight between the two of them. But watching the teams talk about it, at this point with the expectations that we head into, if Method now comes out swinging and takes out Dignitas like a 3-1 or something, I'm just going to walk out. At that point, I don't know what's true anymore.
That's great. That's good. I mean,
yeah,
you want some stability, but week 2 coming in, things being all over the place. I kind of like a mess here and there.
I need something stable in my life.
That's fair. That's fair.
At this point, not to take anything away from Method, they lost to Fnatic. We just saw Fnatic fall to Zealots. And Dignitas has looked so strong. Right now, they seem to be that stable element in the league where okay, Dignitas is going to do well. And every single time we hear an interview, no matter who talks, it's always Dignitas is going to win this or at least dominate this. Dignitas is the team to beat. These are the players that I look up to. At this point, we're seeing Shrimpy talk about 3 players in Dignitas when he's asked, okay, who do you look up to? Who are really the people within the league that you respect the most? And he names
all
3
players
on the Dig roster. At this point, I'm really just looking at this and say, like, if they now also start falling here, then I don't know what's happening anymore.
Let's find out if they will fall or if they will remain undefeated as we get ready for the first battleground in this best-of-5 series. It's it, guys. The big one has begun. Infernal Shrines will be the battleground. Dignitas with the pick. Method will have first pick.
Method and Dignitas, which is really interesting to me, are the only teams that we have seen so far that have banned different maps. every other team has always gone into the matches and has said from the get-go, this is the one map we don't want to play.
No.
And that is oftentimes also a way how you approach scrims, where you just say to your scrim partner, listen, we don't play this map, so we're not practicing this. But these are the two teams that have changed their bans, so that just shows that they practice on all maps. And that can be a huge advantage, especially later on in the season when you're all of a sudden going up against... First of all, it's great for offline events as well, because you can exploit weaknesses of other regions maybe on certain maps, but it's also true within your own region, where when you go up against an opponent and you know exactly what they don't like to play, you can design your own ban strategies in the map sense around that. So being flexible in that sense can be a huge advantage, and this is something that can clash here already.
I mean, there's a good case in point. The Fnatic versus Team Liquid last year when we went to Warhead Junction, where we had the Vikings play against a Tracer, Genji, constant dive back line. That was a fantastic series between those two, and we hadn't seen Warhead Junction in weeks. There was a total of 9 nukes in the field at once, so things like that will come up later on, and it's good to consider those.
So we're heading straight into it. Method now with the first pick and first ban, as we already said, on Infernal Shrines, our first map. It's going to be interesting to see how exactly they're going to open this up, if we're going to see them fall back into the patterns they already showed, or if it's going to be a bit of a different style. Oftentimes what we see from them is they really love to ban out against the team they play. For example, when they played against Fnatic, they targeted Gul'dan very, very heavily, since they know, okay, this is one of the stable players that we have. So on Infernal Shrines, they could actually do that again. Gul'dan is strong here. We've seen some fantastic play throughout the entire league already on Gul'dan, and on Infernal Shrines he's strong, and there we go. Gul'dan banned out.
Gul'dan has been banned out. Team Dignitas thinking about what they want to remove. The last couple of times that we've been seeing them ban, they have been going towards the route of Genji and Abathur banning again. Kind of a trend that we've seen here in Europe, but they have really matched that as well. So curious to see if they will answer back with the same thing here.
And both of the teams are really taking their time at the beginning here. We have talked in our first weekend a lot about Genji as the ban coming in with Abathur as well. Both of them are currently still open. But definitely in our second weekend, things have been shaken up a little bit more. Just because all of a sudden everyone acknowledges that Uther has such an insane win ratio. We've seen Tacita and Hanzo now being played a lot in the last series, by Zealots in particular. And of course, there's always the global factor that we have to at least talk about. Dehaka has seen not as much play as we expected coming from 2017, where the globals reigned supreme. Falset has fallen off a lot, but the Dehaka in particular is still a staple. And for now, Greymane is taken away. We have Genji still open, and that's probably an easy pickup for Team Dignitas, as Method decides that they want to play with Hanzo as their first pick.
Now, Team Dignitas, while you did talk about the Uther and how popular he's been in Europe, for the most part, Dignitas has been more on the Malfurion train. They've played him a total of 5, I believe, out of the 6 games that they've had, compared to the Uther, which means there's a possibility we can get that. And with Dehaka popping up in popularity as well, I wouldn't mind seeing that from Wobby.
Yeah, so when we're looking at the stats, we currently see Dignitas with 4 games on Malfurion. They have a 4-0 at this point, and they played Uther twice, and they won both of these games, of course, as well. Currently, we have them with a 100% win ratio overall. They have 6-0, so every single time they played a hero, they won with it. But they definitely have, as you said, the tendency to go into Malfurion over Uther, but that could have also changed by now. There we have it. Uther and Genji, it makes sense. You have Genji open, and he combines better with Uther than he does with Malfurion now, so they take both of them.
Expecting to see Snitch on the Genji, one of the most terrifying Genjis we've seen in the last couple of weeks. He is surgical with that blade as he dices up opponents on the opposing side, and with him having a Divine Shield to help him out, it's going to be a little bit more worrisome for the Hanzo that Method has picked up on the right.
But you've been talking about supports, and let's come back to Malfurion, because he's a great pick for Method as well. Method has played him 4 times, and currently Method has played 7 maps. So more than 50% of their games, they pick Malfurion as their hero. They've won 2 of the games with him, and they lost 2. But considering the map, and considering Uther taken away now, there's a good chance that Method says, okay, we're going to head into Malfurion, since he can block off those paths into the shrines quite easily, and you can really deliver a lot of... You have a stationary target that you can deliver on, and if you capitalize with a Hanzo arrow on a route or the vice versa, then you can always lock targets into place for long enough to have all the damage dealers.
Leo and
go
Alex
in on that.
Straza.
Alex, okay. We have seen Alex Straza.
Yeah, we have.
And this is the map for it.
Because of her Dragon Queen trait, being able to drop in the dragon around the Shrine phase, it usually indicates that you are going to go all in on winning the Shrine, getting the Punishers, and forcing your opponent to fight into a Dragon, which is a difficult task in itself. So now Team Dignitas needs to decide right now. Do they want to fight into the Dragon, and if so, they need to equip themselves well with heroes, or do they want to make sure they can split push in different areas of the map?
Yeah, at the same time, Alexstrasza hasn't won a game yet in Europe. She's been played twice, Method used her once, and both times she lost. But she brings a lot to the table here. Dragon Queen is one of the tools, for sure, but this is a map where traditionally the heroes start clumping up during the Shrine fights, either one way or another, so that's when you get more value out of her. We've seen her also comboed off with Diablo, which I think is an amazing synergy, since with Abundance you can generate the regeneration globes. The level 1 quest talent is perfect for it, and Diablo, of course, is someone that benefits from that a lot. And that's the reason why he gets immediately being banned out. Dignitas is saying like, well, we see you Alexstrasza, and the one thing that we are trying to deny is, first of all, that Alexstrasza provides the extra value for Diablo, but also on top of that, we've just watched the last series where Zealots used the arrow into Apocalypse, and that's another pretty cool tool, so we take one hero away and eliminate 2 synergies immediately.
It's a 3 for 2. Genji gets shut down by Diablo if he pushes too far and
Yeah,
slammed
good
against
point.
the wall, so it's a Diablo just as a natural ban here, stopping what excels for your opponents, but also making sure that your Genji doesn't get completely shut down. Team Dignitas with the clever ban, the perfect ban, just to make sure that Method doesn't get that trifecta. Now over to the right. Malthael has been banned here for a Method, indicating that they will go into another tank, of course. They have the Yorick.
Yeah, in Method, they basically ban Malthael every single time they play on Infernal Shrines. This is the 3rd time that they play on Infernal Shrines, and it's the 3rd time that on their 2nd ban they get rid of Malthael. So they really just don't like the hero here. There are a couple of teams that have certain priorities on 2nd bans, where they just say, okay, we don't want to deal with this hero. It's not a hero that we expect to be taken early on by our opponent. It's more something where you try to complement a stable base. And in this case, on this map, Method just says like, no, we are not going to deal with Malthael at all.
There it goes. Team Dignitas on the 3rd and 4th pick. Going to be moving into probably a little bit more damage. Want to grab their warrior soon here. It's going to be the Nubrak and a Ragnaros coming online for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, the Ragnaros, we've talked about him. It doesn't shock me too much if you consider that he fulfills a very similar purpose to what Dragon Queen does.
Yeah.
So first of all, he's great, of course, to slow down any kind of objective that is thrown against him. But second of all, if you go for your trade, you can also secure yourself the Shrine, the Minions, and the Punisher. So very similar to Dragon Queen in the sense that what he can provide during that.
That's going to be an interesting battle to watch. A Dragon Queen versus a Molten Core. Constant damage coming in.
We had in NA the game where both of them were actually combined, and it was an interesting idea to start with either one and then secure the Shrine with the second. It didn't quite work out, and it also was not really pulled off properly, like stacking those cooldowns ideally, but as a thought or something that we could see maybe in the future, at least attempted to cheese in a few of the Shrines, it's definitely an interesting idea. So I like that. Not going to see it here unless we see a Tychus being picked up as well, where you can stack Odin then on top of it, but definitely something that could happen.
Yeah, that was actually what happened in that match too. There was the Alexstrasza and the Ragnaros together, and then Odin was on the opposing side. So it was all about the Transformers as they use their big traits to pop in. I actually kind of wonder if D.Va's going to become something that jumps up for some teams in the future just because of that control you want around the Shrine. But regardless, this is a different point. Let's not talk about D.Va. Kirazim and Muradin have been picked up for a Method, allowing them to get the engage they want. Double support once again for Hamza. Double support sneaking up back into the meta here the last couple of days.
Yeah, not quite as strong and as oppressive as it was last year, but at least Zealots was successful with it against Fnatic. Was a close call though. So overall, double support still the niche. And we have a Falstad, the hero that had an extremely rough time so far in Europe.
From Dignitas too. So now they have the option to disengage from fights if Dragon Queen comes in and they don't think they have the advantage for it. Or they also have the aggressive play where you can fly in, Mighty Gust targets in to the Molten Core, get the big screen, and try to clean them up.
Yeah. And overall, to give you some statistics on him, 1-6 currently in Europe. Falstad, the only win was by Tricked, but they are 1-3 with him. So this is the first time that Dignitas plays the hero. We've been talking earlier about globals and about Dehaka in particular, but we also mentioned that Falstad has fallen off heavily since there's so much dive right now and so many mobile heroes that can really target him. The low hit point pool of Falstad is a huge liability, so that was one of the problems that makes it very difficult for him to capitalize on the global mobility that he has. But now for Dignitas, this is definitely a team that has the individual skills to pull that off, and he offers, of course, a lot. Mighty Gust as a disengage tool is fantastic. You can also use it for a good flank to force a fight out of your opponent, and you get the global soak. So that's something where Dignitas is definitely going to try and get something, especially the global soak, out of him to get that lead when they head into the mid game.
Well, let's go ahead and do it. Game number 1 in the best of 5 series will now begin. We're going to move into Infernal Shrines as the battleground. Method taking on Team Dignitas. Can they topple the Giant, or will Dignitas stay undefeated?
Game number 1, and to the left we have Team Dignitas on Infernal Shrines with JPL on Anubarak, Snitch on Falstad, Whoopi on Ragnaros, Poik on Genji, and Zelia on Uther.
On the right side in the red, Method, Arcaner coming in here will be playing the Leoric, Nick on Hanzo, Curson on Alexstrasza, a Thorough playing Muradin, and Schwimpy is Karazim.
Yeah, Karazim, he is having a hard time, as we said before. He was played so far 5 times and lost 3 out of those 5 games in Europe. But Europe playing him more than most other regions. Now, when we're talking about our battle here, then of course the one thing that we have to note immediately is that Dignitas hasn't lost a single map yet. They're 6-0 currently in the league here in HGC Europe, whereas Method has 4 map wins and 3 map losses.
Dignitas opens up by playing safe. They've put Ragnaros and Genji on the top side to help out with that Leo. Sometimes getting a clean early kill on Leo, or at least putting him down to under half health, can put you in a spot to win that lane, and they aim to do so. Falstad on the bottom. And he'll have to be a little bit careful later on for that Karazim and Alexstrasza die, but for the 1 through 9 phase, he should be okay as long as he dodges those Storm Bolts.
For me, it's really just watching Dignitas. They are the team that comes into this, and they are currently on top of the world. They only played 2 series. They won both of them without dropping a map, as mentioned earlier. But they are looking just so strong. And every team that you talk to mentions over and over again how much they respect and fear the setup that Dignitas has. Zelia has really grown into the support role and is delivering on the hero, talking a lot about how much fun he has there and how he also feels that he has a much bigger impact on the success of his team now that he finds himself in the new role than before.
Should be playing with danger a little bit here in the middle. Is going to kite on back as the Curson will give him a dash target to jump into. Did you mention that he's going Transcendence, by the way, at level 1?
Yeah, that's something that we've seen a few times now. We've seen that actually from him the last time as well. Schwimpy now for the 2nd time on Karazim, and for the 2nd time he goes Transcendence.
Bringing the heals out with the attacks that he brings in. One of those traits that a lot of folks have not been picking up. Usually we see that Iron Fist, even a couple of insights here and there, but Transcendence becoming a mainstay here for him.
Yeah, the last time that they played it was against Fnatic, if I'm not mistaken, and back then they lost the game. But that was, of course, a 3-1 series. JPL under a lot of pressure here early on. Great move by Method, coming in for a bit of free damage before the Shrine spawn.
Thorough really coming to his own on that tank role. Constantly showing up, playing Muradin well, forcing fights when he can, and Team Dignitas hits 4 a little bit before Method, but Method's right behind him there, keeping up with the experience.
And just coming back to that game that Method played on Infernal Shrines against Fnatic, it's a very similar composition that they're running here. Hanzo, Alexstrasza, Leoric, and Karazim were played back then, just with Diablo over Muradin. And as we said, there's so much synergy with those setups, and this time Diablo obviously got banned out by Dignitas, but Method is basically running the exact same composition that they used against Fnatic. So currently very set on how they feel this map needs to be approached.
Shumi comes in and trades against Snitch. It's just a bait though. A Thorough sitting in the bush. Snitch does not bite. Playing safe, knows that his teammates are grabbing the Merc camp. His job is to soak, stay near his turret, and then come to the fight when needed. So good play on him there, not chasing the Karazim.
Yeah, well, for now, we have a bit of a lead for Method. Actually, at this point, Whoopi come in and steal half of those minions away that Arcana was just about to grab. But we are seeing a big commitment to the Shrine immediately by our red team, as we have Falstad still sitting down at the bot lane, trying to push the wave out, and that is going to cost Method a bit of experience, so they need to make sure that they're getting an advantage in stack, so that they can at least grab the Punisher and negate the advantage that Falstad will get for Dignitas.
Dig has such good pushers on those side lanes right now. They have Ragnaros on the top, who clears out lanes quickly. They have Falstad, who gets better at level 7 when he gets that boomerang, but can still push and come into a fight if he needs to. They are well aware that they're probably going to lose out on the Shrine phase. Incursion pops up the Dragon Queen just to make sure that they get it. And they'll burn out a few more and finally grab the Punisher. But the lead for Dignitas is very apparent.
I don't even think Curson had to go for it here.
No, he didn't have to burn it, no.
And so right now, the Punisher is pushing through. Falstad still at the bot lane. Leoric is getting experience at the top. And we have Karazim moving bot. But the level 7 talent that Snitch gave his team by staying on the lane allows now for an easy clear. We have a bit of pressure from Method against the structures. They're trying to get the second tower, but it's unlikely that they're going to commit to it completely. They got one, so now they need to make sure that Zero gets out of this.
He gets out. Ooh, Void goes in. Being a little bit dangerous there. Ragnaros back to the top lane, and again, Leo has to come back. It's actually kind of weird to see Leo having to respawn constantly, as Ragnaros just pushes in so well.
And
Leo has to be there.
Again, we've been highlighting this in their previous series. How well they do with experience, with just making sure that they're not losing out on lane soak, and we see the same MO again. It's only a subtle lead, but it is definitely there, so they are doing well with it. Method not quite able with the first objective to negate that advantage, but they're still keeping up, and both of the teams are slowly heading towards level 10. No kills so far on the game.
Curious to see when that Molten Core comes out. When does Dignitas decide that they want to fight over the Punisher? Will it be post 10 when they have a combo set up? Are they going to look for that Sulfura Smash into an Anubrak engage off Cocoon and then move into Molten Core? Or if the next Punisher pops in and it's not quite 10 for them, will they go ahead and play safe and just go with the same strategy of soaking on the sides?
At the 10, you can make so many plays here. The Anubrak engage into Sulfura Smash. This is going to be absolutely brutal. I feel it forces also the palm out of Karazim, and at the same time, the Cocoon is of course going to try and hit him in particular, since he's the one who can shut down the entire combo by simply dropping one cooldown. So that is one of the things where the positioning of Shrimpy is going to play a huge role. Can Anubrak get the engage on the target while simultaneously he drops the Cocoon and prevents the palm?
Dick comes in for a fight in the middle lane. 10 about to hit for them. We'll see if they go for that hard engage right away. Method hoping to answer back with a Stormbolt or two, but not finding a target to hit. They find Uther, but he's safe and far away from Nick, meaning no damage comes out, and there's the 10.
And an entire level ahead. One level ahead, not a single kill, not one. And they lost the Punisher. But they are an entire level ahead right now, thanks to that push, thanks to the pressure play here at the bot lane, where both of the towers have already fallen. The Zero gets a bit of damage in against Snitch. Falstad, of course, has to be careful here, going for Seasoned Marksman here on level 1 as well. And by now, Method is very close to their own heroic ability, and then we could see them engaging into these team fights.
Yeah, Shrine should be activating soon, but they've hit 10. There's that Cleansing Flame, which might be a little scary for Falstad. Have to be careful here, making sure not to get landed on a Hanzo damage arrow. If the arrow comes in and puts him at half health, Alex Terraza can actually dive that backline pretty well with that Cleansing Flame.
And as expected, we have the Divine Palm taken, so it's really going to be this battle between Divine Palm against Sulfura Smash and against, of course, Anubrak's Cocoon, who's going to attempt to shut him down whenever a move is made. We've seen similar strategies from Fnatic in the earlier series, where they just call out one target, try and jump on him, and immediately cocoon the healer to make sure that he can't help out. In this case, it's of course a double heal, but the panic button is on the side of Karazim.
There is an element where they can do a cocoon onto a target, Sulfura Smash, and then Mighty Gust away the Karazim the last second to make sure it doesn't land.
Yep.
But it does require some coordination, have to be pixel perfect. Burrow Charge comes out for DPL.
Very early, since he realizes he's in a bit of an awkward spot and he wants to move out just to make sure that he doesn't take too much free damage. And that gives a slight lead to Method when it comes to his stacks, but over the duration of the next few seconds, we should see that engage by Dignitas happening. And again, Anubrak moving out, they don't find that opening that they're looking for. And Falstad is pushing the top heavily, so they don't want to over-aggressively go in. And but they haven't told him yet to fly down. With the camp that he's using to push in, he might even get the fort.
Yeah, they want to take that fort. Karazim shows up, and they decide to go for the combo right away. They jump straight onto Nick, and Nick is gone.
Nick is down. That was a great kill here, and that was the 4 versus 4. They see Karazim at the top, and with Karazim not present, you already know there's no palm, so you can make the move. Nick nearly escaping. Doesn't quite make it happen, but now at the top lane, Snitch is actually starting to close in on Shrimpy. Doesn't get the kill here, but the 2-level lead, well, maybe not quite, 1-level lead currently for Dignitas. They have taken the fort. The Punisher hasn't even taken a single tower.
Dig just seems to be in full control of this map. They are 2 levels ahead. It's about to be only 1 as Method finally gets their own 12 themselves. But the 4 is gone. Both Punishers are going over to Method, yet Team Dignitas is in a lead in terms of structures.
Yeah, Dignitas is just, again, looking absolutely great. They're doing so well with how they control the experience on the map, and this usually gives them a lead in XP. They make the perfect choice around Falstad, getting the most out of his global utility, and that's just fantastic. We have auto attack taken on 13, the acid-drenched mandibles on Nuburak, so also a bit of an adjustment here.
Great for when you land that combo, and you want to be able to turn around and put in a couple of auto attacks. Actually quite deadly from an Nuburak. We don't see that one very often, but when it comes in, keep an eye on Nuburak. He actually possesses some decent damage.
And that's, again, these quick moves onto a single target is what needs to dominate the team fights for them. They got 1 kill, they're 1.5 levels ahead, but Method will close in on 13 now. But I'm already scared for Method, because Dignitas gets insane value out of Falstad in this early game already. In the late game, it's going to become even worse. So he's always forcing the Auric to the top. He forced Kerosene to the top earlier, which Dignitas immediately used as an initiation said, okay, no panic button for them, no palm, let's go in and get a kill. They got it against Hanzo, and they're going to look for that even more. Muradin, by the way, has not even taken his 10 yet, so at this point, Ethereus is sitting there saying, I'm still threatening to go into Playmaker. He's even holding back the 13 because of it, and that is actually really interesting. He's kind of known to hold the 10 back for a long time, but at this point, he is really waiting it out until the last moment.
And just to give you an indicator of how well Stitch is playing on that Falstad, when it comes to experience and soaking on the map, he is sitting at almost 13k experience. As you look at Leoric, he's currently at 8.5k. Leo usually in that double soak and keeping the team in the games. You can see the difference.
Playmaker, and goes for it. No avatar. We see him actually going for Playmaker here. So Ethereus is going to use that. At 13, he started to get cold feet, and he was like, okay, I have to take my chance at some point. So let's make sure that we have that ready. No avatar for him. But the problematic point is not really his ult right now, it's that Dig is nearly 2 levels ahead. We have seen a single kill.
Just one.
1 kill.
And it was in the blink of an eye.
And both Punishers went over to Method. Method won both of the Punishers, and they are 2 levels behind nearly.
Dignitas just shutting down Method. The Haymaker will be good for when Dragon Blade comes out. You can knock away the Genji to make it easier for your team to survive. Also, if you do find Ragnaros pushing a little bit too far forward, you can pop him into his team, but
how do you fight now?
Yeah, it is going to be an issue. Obviously, you open up with the Hanzo ultimate into an Entomb. At level 20, it gets a little bit more scary too with the silence, but that's 6 levels away.
But look at this map. The entire time, Dignitas was saying, yeah, what are you going to do, boys? Take your Punisher. We really don't care. They get the fort at the bot lane thanks to Snitch pushing the wave out and their own minions doing the damage now. And now they engage into the 5 versus 5 at the top. They trap them here completely. They have a talent advantage, and they're going to use that. Dragon Queen is already popped. Shrimpy gets, at least for now, freed so he can make a move. Fort, by the way, did not fall at the bot lane, barely surviving on literally like no hit points. Ah, the arrow into the Entomb, but it's just not enough.
Sulfura smash and stop on the backside. Gust will be used too, and here comes Poik on the Dragon Blade. He slices left, he slices right. There's a Divine Palm. Poik's getting low. It's going to eventually fall, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Now a 1-for-2. Wubby slamming down on Ragnaros, helping out in these fights. Snitch chasing Leoric. Even with a Cleansing Flame, it's not enough.
1-for-3. Arcana is going in. He wants the Punisher. They are 37, but they don't get it. So the interesting part was also how Hanzo survived, because Dignitas made the perfect call, calling out the palm, and they never engaged into it. Now we're having Snitch chasing down Curson, and he's gonna get him. It's an entire team wipe, and 3 stacks short of 40. Method is wiped and doesn't even get the Punisher. So right now, they lose 5 heroes, they lose the objective. In the meantime, Dig has got an extra experience in the mid lane, at the bot lane. They are winning every aspect of the game at this point.
And Arcana comes back and instantly dies again, but at least he gets a scout out his opponent, so that's a positive. Method 15.5 on experience, not even close to 16, has to get this Punisher over the wall for defense.
Dignitas is ridiculous. It's disgusting how good this team is. It's insane.
We saw Method push Fnatic to the brink the other day. It was a 3-1 victory for Fnatic, but Method was hanging there the entire time. And Dignitas is toying with them.
Yeah, Dignitas is looking absolutely crazy. And keep in mind, this is the same setup that Method plays. Arrow of Hanzo missing completely. Is getting dodged here by Dignitas. But this is exactly the same setup, that, with the exception of the switch from Diablo into Muradin, since Diablo was banned out, that Method used against Fnatic. So this is not a draft that Method was forced into. This is really something where they say, hey, we believe in this. There was a big synergy that was taken away with the Diablo ban, but these are heroes where they still say, this is what we believe will lead us to a victory over here. Good engage by Ethereal, but now the Gust, and here comes Poik with the Dragon Blade.
And Saphira smash, Alexstrasza's down already. A Thorough gets away nice and healthy, but his teammates not as lucky. Karazim in a web, gonna palm, but he gets locked down right away. Shwimpy tried to dash out, and he gets away.
That's actually more impressive than anything else. I did not think that he could survive there. Well done. They procced the palm, and in my head was immediately, well, he procced the bomb, but he's just going to die anyways, and he still has the dashes available and is able to make his way out. But we are talking about a 3-level lead after 14 minutes of play.
Is this stability that you were looking for, Caldor? Does this make you happy?
I'm not sure if it makes me happy. That's a bit too stable. It's insane how much they dominate at this point. It's really crazy.
9-1. And kills, 19-16, about to hit 20, a 4-level lead over Method. Method is no joke here in the HGC Europe. They are one of the top 3 to 4 teams that you have in the division, and Dignitas just crushes.
Yeah, we might also at some point have to adjust a bit the idea that we have of certain teams. I mean, at this point, I don't know how strong Method is. The games against Fnatic were very close. Outside of that, they played against Diamond Skin, who just had a very rough time on the first weekend. And that might have something to do with it as well. So there's definitely a few teams where over the next few weeks we can reevaluate what we think about them. We talk in particular about Method, Team Liquid, who now suffered a loss at the hands of Diamond Skin, Tricked, for example, who looks so solid. But Dignitas is definitely the one that is currently leading the charge here. Arcana in trouble as Dig goes in again. They have the 20 advantage, a 4-level lead, and they are using it to drop Karazim.
Oh
now
my.
they got in with a wind tunnel. Hanzo is pushed into a corner, has no chance of escape. Muradin attempts to jump out, but Snitch is already on him. Arcana barely got out, and at this point they don't care anymore. They just go straight into the middle and aim for the first keep.
Yep, Dig heads straight to the middle, opens up the turret here, can work on the sidewall too if they need to get on top of that keep. They have a good 20 seconds before Karazim and Hanzo are back on the field, and they'll take this keep easily. They still have a Molten Core too if they want to make an aggressive play for the core if another member falls.
Yeah, and Arcana is about to fall. He barely keeps himself alive here thanks to Curson. And here comes a Haymaker, an attempt against Poik, trying to put him into trouble, but that doesn't work out. He's deflect, jumps out, keep is gone, and they still have the 3-level lead as the Shrine is activating in the mid lane, and also more pressure at the top lane where the camp in the meantime has also taken a lot of hit points off the keep itself. It's gonna survive for now. But that Punisher that now spawns, if they get it, it's likely that to happen. It's going to move through the mid lane.
Dig just does not take their foot off the pedal. Constant pressure everywhere. A huge
Baby.
arrow comes in, hits Ragnaros. Web comes out on Muradin. Wubby steps forward. Dragon Blade with Divine Shield in the back right. 2 have been eliminated before I can even see it. Shwimpy drops the palm, but he's stuck in a corner. Snitch delivers the auto attack. A Thorough tries to back home. Poik says, no, you're here stuck with me.
Dignitas makes this look like a quick match. 14 kills against 1, 21 against 17 in levels. Utter domination by Dignitas.
Method praying they can get a pick, but with a Punisher coming down the middle lane and them being 2.5 levels behind.
They are calling, let's go for Korn. Poik says, no, I want more kills.
Haymaker him knock away. Maybe a Thorough can get this.
Yeah, maybe he can.
Poik being a little cheeky.
Poik moving back, but there's 2 catapults moving in on the core. We're not even talking about the Punisher. 3 heroes are still dead, and Dignitas is on the core here. The game lasted 18 minutes, but it is impressive how much Dignitas dominated.
Dignitas deletes Hanzo. Looks to delete another, but they don't have time as they delete the core. And they continue to be undefeated here in HGC Europe with a 7-0 record, getting a 1-0 over Method.
Method just got spanked in the first game.
They got shut down.
That was